Hey everybody, it's Dan Sfera, www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Once again, that website address for you is www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. The best place on the internet for clinical trials content and information. Today's blog post is an important one. It's what do you do if you notice that you're having a serious adverse event or just a regular adverse event from a study drug. So obviously, if you're in an inpatient clinical trial, you don't need to worry too much about this because you don't need to do anything. They're going to do it for you. That's why you're there in an inpatient setting. They're going to take all the necessary emergency precautions and they'll do the emergency procedures if you're in an inpatient study. But what do you do if you are having a side effect and you're in an outpatient study? And let's say you're not at the clinic, but you're at your house, and you're all of a sudden coming down with a side effect. If it's serious side effect, you want to, you don't want to mess around at all. You want to call 911. You don't want to sit there and think, well, is this from the study drug? Is it not from the study drug? If you feel like your safety is at risk and your health and your well-being is in jeopardy, just call 911. Obviously, if it's an emergency, call 911. And then, once you're there at the hospital, you want to let them know that you're in a study, if you're able to do so. And if not, you're supposed to get a little emergency card from the clinical trial, that you're supposed to keep on yourself. And the emergency card says, I am in a clinical trial for this compound. Please contact my study doctor at this number. So you should carry that around with you for emergency purposes if you're not able to speak or give information during your emergency. It's important to have that emergency card. Obviously, if you are able to speak, you want to let them know whether you think it is related to the study drug or not. You may not know whether it is or not, but you have some common sense to know, if it's a new side effect that you've never experienced before, there's a good chance it's related to the study drug. Now, if it's not a serious emergency, where you don't have to call 911 and go to the hospital, you still can call the clinic's after hours line, and that's the research clinic's after hours line. There should be a number that you can call, and you can say, hey, I'm coming down with this particular side effect. Is this normal? Is this expected? And if you can't get a hold of them that way, if you can't get a hold of the clinic, you want to have a copy of your informed consent. You should have been given a copy of your informed consent when you signed up for the study. You want to look through that and look for all the expected side effects or symptoms of the study drug. And you want to see if yours matches up to any of those. And if it does, then you know that you have to call the clinic and let them know, hey, I'm having this side effect. It's not an emergency, but I just wanted to let you know. And what should I do? And maybe they'll tell you right there on the phone that you need to stop taking the study drug. Or maybe they'll tell you to take a half a dose. Or maybe they'll have you come into the clinic the very next day. So there's all kinds of things that can happen. And people have adverse events all the time. They don't have to be serious or require hospitalization for you to have an adverse event. You can have a headache, you can have diarrhea, you can have nausea. So these are things that you want to communicate with your research clinic. So, if you do come down with a side effect, if it's an emergency, obviously you want to call 911 and then worry about the other stuff later. You just want to get yourself stable. But if it's not an emergency, you want to call the clinic, you want to look in your informed consent form and see what the side effects are and if they match up with the expected side effects, and you want to pretty much get immediate response from your research clinic anyways, even if it's not serious, because you don't want to have any long-term side effects. So call them as soon as possible and ask them if you need to continue taking the medication or not. Anyways, this is Dan Sfera signing off. www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Thanks a lot.